Welcome to the India FinTech Diaries, the only podcast focused exclusively on the Indian FinTech market. I'm Elroy.
And I'm Hemant. In each episode, we dive into the latest trends, ideas, innovations, business models, and personalities that are shaping India's fintech landscape.
We also invite amazing guests who are innovators and industry players that are driving the change that is helping make financial services more modern, innovative, and inclusive in India. Come join us as we explore the changing landscape of fintech in India.
Hi everyone. Welcome to a new episode of India FinTech Diaries. I am your co-host Hemant, and this is our show where we discuss the latest trends in Indian fintech and speak to some amazing guests from the industry and dive deep into specific fintech themes.
And I'm your co host Elroy. Last week, we did a deep dive into embedded credit when we caught up with Anubhav Jain from Rupify. This week, we continue in our journey to demystify embedded finance with a special focus on insurance. I'm very pleased to welcome Chirant Patil and Suvendu Pusti, co-founders of Discovery, which is one of the leading insurtech companies in India. Welcome to the show, Chirant and Suvendu.
Hey, thank
Thank you. Lovely to be here. Thank you.
Chirant and Suvendu, I must confess that insurance for me personally is a space that's almost like an unexplored domain for me. I've always thought of it as a very painful, paper-driven process that was both a hassle to buy as well as claim whenever a claim was required. But you're changing all this perception today to Discovery and bringing insurance literally kicking and screaming into the digital age. So I'd really love to know a little more about yourselves and how you and the founding team got together to build Discovery.
Cool. Thanks for that question. Again, great to be here, guys. Elroy, welcome to the club, right? In the sense that, we also had at least Vidya and me, who are based out of Bangalore, and relative to Suvendu and Saurabh, who are based out of Mumbai and come from the insurance industry, we had like all of zero, number of operational days of experience working in the insurance industry. But the entire financial service was super interesting. It was something that was very atypical, and our interest peaked there, and then the meeting of the minds happened between the inside out part of our DNA represented by Suvendu and Saurabh, and then the outside in part of the DNA represented by Vidya and myself. So our DNA is a combination of four fundamental things that came together, that we are bringing together as a founding team. IDDT, as we call it: insurance, distribution, data, and technology. Insurance is the product, distribution is the capability, data to kind of make things personal, and technology to connect all the dots. So that's sort of our four pillars of our business. And the way we kind of really came together was really to look at the space and say, look, which fintech space offers the most amount of innovation, both from the fin side as well as the tech side. And so no brainer that insurtech is that space, right? So that's what sort of, we got, one thing led to another. It is looking back, you can sort of, it's easy to connect the dots, but sort of when the entire team was coming together, it was very, I would say, esoteric of sorts, right? And one thing led to another to where we are, which is what makes up most part of, general startup journeys. So our journey really started with, us asking a very fundamental question. We are like, look at the four of us. None of us are exactly your millennials. We all have assets, and we all sort of have a sense of sort of responsibility in terms of our families or extended sort of, dependents, etc. And we are all owners of this company now called Discovery, right? Why isn't there one insurance brand that speaks uniquely to us, and us being upwardly mobile business owners, right? So we said that, hey, why can't we build an MSME version of Policybazaar to start off? Our journey started off on that side, and then sort of, great traction. We built a very interesting product. It continues to be an industry first. Some things that we had kind of built there on the home insurance side, MSME business insurance side, bringing them both together, completely personalized, new advances made both on the product side, in the insurance side, as well as on the technology platform side. But then we realized that during that journey, that while it was sort of very welcome and was being sort of welcome from both sides of the industry, from a customer perspective as well as from the carrier or the supplier side perspective, we did not sort of see much throughput. And that's because sort of at the end of the day, insurance by definition, we think that everybody needs it, but nobody wants it. And there has to be a method to kind of bring a little more last mile push to the table, especially for the products that we had started off. Then we said that, look, in this journey, what we have really created which is a very interesting asset, is the tech itself. It is an API first based technology platform that is multi-product, multi-carrier, multi-distribution channel. sort of specific, and why don't we sort of reposition this? The thing that we realized in that entire journey was that what we are really fighting for is to get customers trust. Now you can throw money at that, or sort of you can build it from sort of a very organic perspective. Both takes a lot of effort, right? So we said that, hey, look, why don't we turn this entire problem on its head? Instead of us going and acquiring customers and building that trust, why don't we go to the place where trust already exists? There are large consumer platforms and enterprise platforms and MSME platforms that cater to sort of millions and millions of customers and consumers. Why don't we kind of, instead of becoming a brand ourselves and going direct to market, be the force behind the brand, right? And then sort of we said that let's position our entire tech stack and sort of become more enterprise friendly or more distribution partner friendly, where we bring that end-to-end one-stop shop for everything as it relates to insurance distribution. The full stack need to bring three fundamental components that are required for any business to start insurance distribution. That one is your technology, second is the insurance product, and third is the compliance license. Can we offer it as a one-stop shop platform for anybody to come and start any insurance use case on any digital medium? And sort of help go deeper and deeper in that particular space. See, the whole idea was that in our view is a bigger play and has the ability to make a deeper impact. So that's what sort of what we stand for. And why don't I bring Suvendu into the conversation and see if he wanted to add anything.
Yeah, so basically we all come from the same thought process that how to increase the insurance penetration in India, and this is very very important right now. And so we are realizing that the industry has undergone a lot of changes after privatization in 2001, and in last 20 years, while the business has grown by say 20 times, but the penetration still remains, maybe the growth of penetration is not even one time. Okay, so then that is really because the industry has not looked at things like embedded insurance and how can insurance be conceptualized based on the needs of the consumer, different segments of the consumer. So that has been the need of the industry, and to facilitate that, and that's where our minds met each other. So all of us came with that thought process that what are the ways to achieve this, and that is where Chirant brought in his the new perspectives of his experience in the fintech side and the other startups, how they're addressing problems, and Vidya contributed from her technology inputs from the all the experience that she has handled on the technology side, and Saurav and myself are bringing what we have seen and experienced, the various forms of distribution, various products that worked, that didn't work, and also in terms of the gaps that we have seen in the industry. So that is what has helped us to build this platform, and we've been a very agile team and continuously upgrading features in the platform to make sure that it is more relevant to our partners who are using this platform to distribute. Like Chirant mentioned, we are completely B2B focused kind of a platform, and we enable insurance distribution to any organization who has a large set of customers and that they have already built affinity and trust with those customers. So we are leveraging on their trust and the affinity with the customer by enabling them the right insurance product, right insurance company, irrespective of whichever the insurance company they choose to work with. So our platform is so flexible that it supports all the three go-to market, whether it is DIY or whether it is assisted channel, or it is kind of an embedded journey where the insurance is offered as one of the solution attached to their core product. So all the three journeys our platform is supporting, and that is where we think that we are able to create this industry first platform that enables to improve the insurance penetration in the industry.
That's quite the journey I've had actually building Discovery and getting to where you are today. In many ways, from what I'm hearing from you about Discovery, Discovery looks to be disrupting how the traditional insurance model works and trying to bring the capability of being able to sell customized insurance products to a very wide set of partners. In some ways, you could call this concept almost like an insurance in a box, right? But I'd like to just maybe delve a little bit deeper and help my listeners understand this model better. So what exactly does the platform provide to someone who wants to maybe start providing insurance to their customers using the platform?
Now, I think that's a great question from you and Roy, and let me take that. See, like I was mentioning that we are a platform which is addressing or helping the distributor to distribute insurance. So when we say distributor, so to understand this aspect, we need to understand the industry a little bit. And we spoke about in this industry, who is important is the distributor, because consumer is still not kind of in a position to decide and purchase insurance with self help. Okay, that awareness is still building while it is growing, but it is not, still consumers are not ready to take their own decision that what product and which insurance company to choose and what will be the right product considering their lifestyle, their product requirement. So they believe in the agents or the distribution, the system that is there in the ecosystem, and that is somebody close to their family, friends, and inner circle to come and help them. So then that is limited. Okay, and then at the same time, we also find that the whole industry does not have any standardized approach of digitalization. So in this digitalization era, while every insurance company is claiming or initiating lot of processes and the products that are digitally driven and digital friendly, but every insurance company has got own way of handling their own technology and exposing their products to the insurance the buyers. So in this aspect, being a distributor, whether it is a large bank or NBFC or a wallet company, microfinance company or a retail company, e-commerce company, they're all dealing with millions of customers. All these customers have regular touch points with their own business. So that brings a lot of opportunity to offer insurance or any financial product, right? So that has been a successful model. We have seen that in the banks and NBFCs have been very successful in distributing insurance along with the addressing the financial needs of the customer. So in that aspect, all these big partners who have been into the insurance distribution, they were facing challenge of how to unify and have unified experience for their customers to deal with insurance. Every insurance company offers a different technology method of integration. Every
Right.
insurance company asks different questions for the same product. So if bank wants to sell a health insurance product, and they are allowed currently as per the regulations, they are allowed to sell three general insurance company product, three life insurance company product, and three health insurance company if they have a corporate agency license. So that means out of these nine insurers they've tied up, six insurers can provide them a health insurance product. So a bank ideally can offer six health insurance product options to their customers. But to having integrated with all the six companies, it is a mammoth challenge for the bank, because everything is so different and they obviously will not be able to spend so much time in terms of building technology, integrating, building pipes between the insurance company to their system and managing and maintaining those systems. So that is where this whole need comes, that there is one platform which can take care of all these requirements of technology integration with each of these insurance company and provide a unified single window experience to the customer at the bank side. So while there are chaos in terms of the way it is currently distribution or the integration methods are by each insurance company, but we have gone, let's say, 10 feet above the whole thing, and we've understood each of these insurance companies integration methods and then standardized the process and method and the purchase journey for the bank, so that while our platform is dealing with all the differences of each insurance company, but it is giving a unified experience to the bank who is distributing or the customers who's purchasing. So customer is still having one look and feel, same questions he is asked for whichever the insurance company he is choosing to buy or whichever the product he is choosing to buy. So it becomes a one unified experience. So when we are dealing with customers and distribution, so we cannot limit options of only purchase or only generating a quote or only making a point payment or only getting a policy, right? So when we are addressing a customer, we need to be end-to-end solution. So when in insurance life cycle, end-to-end means whether it is understanding the needs of the customer, recommending the right product, and then collecting the information and helping the customer to choose the right product, and then offering options of various insurance company to choose. After that, the medical underwriting or financial underwriting, depending on the product that the customer is buying. Thereafter, premium payment, then policy issuance, post policy issuance, where it can be stored at one place where all the insurance policies the customer is buying. That is also a currently pain point, that different documents are kept in different places when it is the need. Nothing is available on a handy basis. And post policy, the other things required, whether it is any endorsements, a change in address, change in date of birth, addition of family members, or related to claims. That is again a most important part of the insurance life cycle. So when we say insurance in a box, all these components of insurance life cycle is addressed by our one platform, one integration which is done used by our partner, whereas it takes care of each of these components that right now I spoke related to the insurance life cycle. So we say if you have already a huge customer base, only thing that you need is a plug and play with Discovery Insurance in a box. All the aspects of the insurance journey is taken care by this platform. You can choose whichever insurance company you want to integrate, you can choose whichever the product you want to go live, and you can have multiple options of using our components or modules of these insurance in a box, whether you use our front end or take our APIs to build your own front end. So because we recognize this from the day one, that when we are dealing with large B2B distributors, every one organizations, they have their own brand guidelines, they have their own sales philosophies, they might be using multiple different systems, whether it is for their CRM or the ERP systems or the lead management system. So different system, they may be using different product. So we cannot go with one fixed mindset and say that this is what I am capable and you have to come here and use this. That the rigidness we kept out, and we kept it really flexible, that it is a completely API driven infrastructure. So they can straight away use all our APIs, build their own screen, integrate our APIs with their various internal systems to manage the entire insurance flow, so that when a lead is generated in our platform, the same lead is also saved inside their CRM. So they can access the lead from our dashboard as well as their CRM. So their contact center doesn't have to open a discovery platform to see where the lead is. They can access the same lead and click on that URL to go to the where customer left, and they can follow up with the customer. So these are the things we have thought through as a team, and we've made it really flexible and really the distribution partner friendly. And we are right now, a lot of the partners that we are currently working with, so they are appreciating the thought process that has gone behind and the flexibility that we are providing right now in the market. And that is where is the success of our platform today. So, and what we are realizing is building it this way and offering it in a flexible manner, whether we are dealing 3 partner or 40 partners, it is really easy for us to scale, because most of this technology is it is on a platform level, and we are not building kind of journeys for each customer separately. We are offering this as a platform feature, and this platform feature has enough of flexibility to change the screen, to change the journey, to embed with any of their current internal systems. So that is where it has become a really scalable model. And within very short period of time, I would say about 9 months time, we have added more than 40 distribution partners. One of the example I would like to quote here is, in the lockout time when COVID pandemic started, and in the month of April, and then immediately few of the insurance companies launched a COVID insurance product, and we were one of the first few who enabled some of the partners to go live with a COVID insurance product with very limited time. So some of our large partners, they were very large organizations, they deal with huge set of customers, and so there we could go live in just 5 days. In just 5 days, the screens, the integration with the insurance company end to end, including policy issuance. And by that time, some of the leading wallet companies were also into kind of launching the COVID insurance, but their product did not have the immediate policy issuance in real time, whereas the integration that we went live, that had real time policy issuance. So because we have thought through these things, and that is where and we kind of made this very modular and very flexible, so it in all sense is real plug and play for our distribution partners, so that they can just come, select things, and go live with any product that they want.
Very interesting tidbit that you shared with us, especially around the COVID insurance angle, right? And I think the true agility and nimbleness of your model actually comes out when you take these kind of examples where you can quickly react to what's happening in the market and enable your partners to your platform to also provide solutions that are in line with market needs. One of the leading trends that we see in 2021 is this concept of embedded finance, or how financial products could be more embedded in customer journeys outside of the financial services industry. As all of us know, increasingly, most of us spend more and more time in ecosystems like those of Amazon, Google, Facebook. And thanks to the lockdown, to a large extent, we have also started shopping online increasingly. Over time, financial services will need to gravitate towards embedding themselves in various customer journeys in those ecosystems and stores. So in some ways, we have already seen this in the past where insurance used to be bundled, say for example, travel insurance being bundled at checkout when you bought a flight ticket on a travel portal, for example. But I think the true power for embedding insurance is when non-financial companies can use API-led methods such as yours to create bespoke insurance products which are better suited to their customers. And these bespoke products can be literally created on the fly. And also, the API-led methods enable these platforms to manage the entire insurance journey as if they were the producer of the insurance product. We wanted to actually touch a little more on this and understand how this might play out, or this sachetization of insurance, if I could call it, would play out. So the key things that we'd want to look at is one, how would the customer journey now look for someone enabling something of this sort? And behind the scenes, what really happens?
That's a great observation and sort of, a key trend that is happening. Thanks for bringing that up. Just want to backtrack a little bit, right, to point where, what Suendu was talking about in terms of insurance in a box. So, as we live in startup spaces that so many buzzwords keep coming out, so it's easy to get kind of confused between all of them. There is sort of insurance in a box, which we are trying to coin ourselves. There is embedded insurance, there is insurance as an API, insurance as a service, financial infrastructure for insurance infrastructure. I mean, there are so many of these things, and it's easy to kind of get lost in them. And each one brings a little nuance to sort of the positioning of that particular company and the value proposition, right? So, but if you were to take a step back, right, what is the value proposition that we are bringing as a company in this particular space, regardless of what the jargon, right? So, if you think about it, let's look at it from a stakeholder perspective, right? And Suendu kind of touched on it and sort of described the details of how we kind of satisfy those requirements. But in terms of just purely seeing it from a stakeholder lens, we have three stakeholders, right? One is the distribution company or the distribution partner, which is our enterprise customer. Second is the insurance company or the carrier, and third is the user of the distribution partner's digital platform, who quote unquote is the end policy holder or the user, right? So the value proposition that an insurance in a box like Discovery, that is essentially that helps with end to end, from productization, commercialization, technology integration, getting to BAU, and sort of helping scale across different products and channels and carriers in the insurance space for our distribution partners. The value proposition we really bring to a distribution partner is that of a one-stop shop. Integrate once with Discovery, and Discovery can help you with multiple products, multiple go-to-markets, multiple distribution channels, whether it is assisted, DIY, bundle, doesn't matter, all kinds, those kind of things. The value for a insurance company is they see us as a super distributor, right?
Right.
Almost like a tech-enabled super distributor. So integrate once with Discovery for one product. Discovery has the ability to take it to n number of distribution partners, right? So basically building a lot of economies of scale on the back of one particular product integration with Discovery. The third one is the user, right? As a B2B2C company, that the C is very sort of, important, because these are the end policy holders who, via our enterprise partners or our distribution partners or enterprise customers, they buy insurance products powered by Discovery of the insurance companies whom we are catering to on the supply side. For them, we are pretty much completely invisible. So if I were to take just like a very high level, this is a new space altogether in the insure tech space. And I must say that, Suendu, Saurabh, Vidya and I feel humbled as founders that we are living in times in this particular space where we are helping to define some of these things. So that we see as a huge responsibility as much as it is a timing advantage as well. Now, when we juxtapose this to something like this that already exists in the industry, which not exactly, I mean, it is not apples to apples at all, because we bring a concept of financial services product, the technology platform, the distribution excellence, and the compliance license all rolled into one as a platform. There is really no precedence for something like this from an end-to-end perspective. Obviously, there are in sort of in certain specific verticals and capabilities, etc. But in the end-to-end perspective, we kind of see the space quite unique. But if I were to juxtapose it to something sort of which a lot of people kind of would be familiar with in the whole fintech world, would be some, to a certain degree, that would be a payment gateway, right? So if you look at a payment gateway, even that is a B2B2C product, right? They don't go direct to market, they go via partners. They also cater to multiple products. One payment gateway enables debit card, credit card, wallet, UPI, multiple payment instruments, right? The revenue is also based on on the payment gateway side. The revenue is predominantly also on MDR. I don't want to get into MDR conversation right now, but
Yeah.
obviously it's a touchy subject. But really the revenue model is sort of MDR, right? It's a cut on the transaction. The same thing here
Correct.
as well. And the beauty of this insurance as a space is that it's a push product. So there's always distribution margin on the table. So
Right.
once we think this could the business model innovation that we're trying to bring is, on one side it can be sticky and scalable like a tech or a SaaS company. On the other side, it could be long tail and profitable at a unit level, like an insurance distribution business or a brokerage business. To bring both of it together on a single platform, offer it completely holistically, flexibly, as Suvendu mentioned, in an on-demand fashion with 21st century technology and sort of data analytics to couple for any insurance product across any channel, across any insurance company to any digital canvas of a distribution partner across any industry, right? Right now, to Suvendu's point, we have 40 plus distribution partners that we have acquired over the last sort of a year or so. And they cut across 10 different partner segments: banks, fintechs, NBFCs, retail, tech, HR tech, supply chain, so on and so forth. So digital, of course. Because the fundamental reason is that with every new industry that we bring on board, by definition, it's a leverage play on
Right.
some other risk that happens on a different kind of a space. By definition, we have to be agnostic of the underlying industries. So what we have realized that just like a payment gateway, right? Your payment gateway doesn't change whether it's a sort of an Amazon. I mean, I'm just going to take an example here. A retail company like an Amazon versus a sort of a health tech company or a consumer health service like say Practo. At the end of the day, both integrate to
Yeah.
payment gateway. By definition, payment gateways are also industry agnostic. So we
Right.
see a lot of familiarity with that. And then the other thing, which is a very sort of an innate, personal, and almost an esoteric sort of a view that we have, is that insurance should be ubiquitous. Like, insurance is diametrically the opposite of payments, right? In payments, what you know whom to pay, how much, using what service, at what value, etc. In insurance, you don't know what you don't know, right? You don't know, you're buying a sort of product that can cover your financial overhead should a particular event arise. So and at the end of the day, nobody can predict the future. Let's be clear that everybody needs insurance because it's a wonderful sort of a hedge risk pool while nobody wants it. So if payments is so, ubiquitous, why isn't insurance? So that is the thing that has led us to create this infrastructure platform where we can say, hey, we will bring any insurance product to any trust medium as long as there is consumer scale, right? And that now comes to the other point of what we're trying to do in terms of embedded insurance, right? So in the embedded insurance space, what we are seeing is that the definition kind of straddles, if I may use that word, between the what and the how, right? The what is really that you can add an insurance product on the back of another service, whether it's financial service or any other, and that coupling can make it easy. The how is the experience, because at the end of the day, to go back to the point I was making earlier, that insurance nobody wants but everybody needs minimum sort of touch points to kind of go through that entire experience, right? So some people speak a lot about the what, some people speak about the how. We think embedded insurance is both. You cannot decouple the two things from each other, because at the end of the day, a great product has to meet great experience for trust to kind of compound. And not everyone is going to kind of when you put this as one side of the sort of the entire why embedded insurance argument, right? So one is that this is hygiene. The other side is that it has to be in a way diverse as well, right? So insurance fundamentally, if any new alternate channels which are getting introduced to insurance by way of insurance being ubiquitous, just like embedded credit, like credit being ubiquitous and multiple platforms offering credit as well. Insurance is heading the same way, but fundamental reasons why people do it is three fundamental reasons in insurance. One, you want to add as a digital merchant alternative revenue channel, right? You're doing sort of retail or digital or anything, and you want to, insurance has tremendous distribution margin. It is probably the only financial service that has as much as distribution margin on the table, regardless of product construct, etc., etc. So relatively speaking, that is one. Second is you want to provide it as a value add service, right? There are inherent risks with using a particular product or a service within sort of what you're trying to go to market. and like for instance, your travel insurance, right? So you want to provide that as a value add service for a customer should something happen. The third bit is completely a loyalty and rewards kind of a use case, right? Where insurance can be a great LNR use case. For instance, what happened with DriveU and Acco. There is easy disintermediation there. Once a driver comes home and sort of takes your car and drops you off, the first thing that he does is gives his own phone number or her phone number, right? So that you can, instead of, they can bypass DriveU and not pay them their sort of their due commissions, if you will, and work directly with the consumer. The reason the consumer doesn't want to do that, or at least I saw myself and some of my friends and family not opting for that and go directly to the driver, is because of insurance. There was that 15 rupees sort of product that was enabled on DriveU by Acco, which enabled me to say that, hey, even if I don't know the next driver, and I really don't know the next driver who's coming in and sort of how he's going to drive, etc., my asset is covered, my car is covered, my ride is covered, right? And that you don't get independent of the service that DriveU primarily offers. Great use case, right? So these are the three fundamental things that happen on one side, which is the want and the need, and the other side, which is kind of hygiene. So what we think is that fundamentally that embedded insurance by definition is not something that is entirely new. It is something that has happened by way of you if you go and get a home loan, chances are that you have a home insurance tagged along with it, right? Completely invisible to you, but sort of comes as part of the entire purchase experience. The question here is the combination of not just the what but the how as well. The way it is getting democratized, where any insurance product can happen pretty much on any trust canvas as long as it is relevant, like a gym offering health insurance, for instance, right? To sort of your RuPay card offering health insurance, to a digital medium like say a social network offering health insurance. For me as a consumer, where it starts seeing value is the relevant products are in relevant interfaces, and those interfaces are the ones that are inherently trust. So that is what on the supply side embedded insurance really means, to bring that, the concept of anything insurance in a matter that is seamless, completely relevant, completely personal, and something that can from a trust building perspective, it's the least friction laden space to consume insurance from a consumer perspective, right? So that's why, because of all of these reasons, we think embedded insurance is pretty unique. It's happening now and it's here to stay. So Vendu, anything to add?
Yeah, no, I think Chirant, you very well kind of covered it from the distributor perspective. So let me cover a little bit about the C perspective, the consumer, why the embedded insurance makes a lot of sense for the consumer as well. So like we all are into this, as all the founders, is the main objective is to improve the insurance penetration. And today, if we understand the Indian market, consumers are buying only the mandatory insurance. So the motor insurance, or they take a home loan, the building insurance is important of the property. They take the asset, let's say television on loan, and the television insurance is mandatory by the lending company. So whatever is mandatory, people are buying, whereas we are driving whatever is not mandatory. So when we are saying the consumer to spend money or allocate financial funds for something that is not mandatory, then we are competing for all other priorities of the consumer. It can be entertainment, it can be the child's education, it can be anything else, right? So there, all of us are kind of used to not buying insurance. So for buying insurance for every risk in our life, it is a decision that becomes a little difficult. Like you use the word sachet insurance, that's a very pertinent word for embedded insurance, and we have been successful in last 2 years that launching various sachet insurance modules for various partners. So that how part, anyway, Chirant kind of explained it really well. So let me address why, because the sachet is a concept, the way it worked wonders for the FMCG sector, we are also expecting doing the wonders in insurance. How are we achieving that? By doing the sachet thing. We, first of all, we as a InsurTech partner, we are not limiting our services only to the technology, building a right platform or enabling the right technology solution across all and to removing all the operational inefficiencies. It is not only limited to that. So we are completely playing role like Chirag mentioned initially, the insurance product side, the data analytics in terms of the creating personalized product and behavior, understanding the consumer behavior in terms of where are they, what are the time they are purchasing. So all those aspects. So what we are trying to do is that we unbundle all the complex product and make it affordable for the customer and make it need based for that point of time. If let's for example a home insurance, a typical home insurance in Indian market, it includes everything. It includes your home building, it includes your contents, that means your furniture, your paintings and everything else, and then all your electronic appliances, jewelry at home, your bicycle at home. All this might be put together, may cost 20,000 rupees. But as a consumer's mind, is the consumer willing to spend 20,000 for home insurance? No, because they think out of all the things that this policy covers, most vulnerable may be the appliances, electronic appliances. So here we are providing a choice to the customer as well as distributor. Instead of offering the whole thing and making it mandatory, unbundle the product and offer the module that is most sought after by the consumer. Similar examples we can draw out of health insurance. Most of our Indian population are still, BPL and lower income group, and they cannot afford a health insurance plan what is popularly available in the market. For a family of 3 to 4 members, 2 adults and 2 children, and covering 3 to 5 lakhs rupees sum insured, it will not cost less than 15,000 rupees, 20,000 rupees per annum. So it is out of the budget of many people to pay upfront, spend 20,000 for annual cover, while it is covering for 12 months and everything. But still today it is a decision, right? By today I will pay fees or pay rent or buy this spend this 20,000 rupees for buying annual insurance. But what is more probable to happen to my family? Maybe some critical illness, maybe COVID right now, that is more important in everybody's mind, or maybe only accidental hospitalization, or maybe all the critical hospitalization which requires more than 3 to 5 days stay in hospital. I believe that is the risk I can't take. If I have to just go to a general physician and spend 1,000 rupees for 200 rupees, that I am sure I can take that risk. But what I cannot take is somebody getting sick due to critical illness or some major illness and staying in hospital for, and where my spend is 1 lakh rupees. So we are now unbundling the entire comprehensive health insurance product and making it available for, let's say, surgical illness only, cancer product, diabetes related product, heart cover, COVID insurance cover, or people have insurances from their insurance covers from their employer or from government. So for that segment, we have created a fixed benefit health insurance plan that you get just a daily benefit, fixed benefit. If you stay 1 day in hospital, you get certain amount of fixed benefit, and that works really well, especially for the BPL and LMI segment where they already covered under the government health insurance scheme. But what government health insurance does not pay is the loss of income that the person had to undergo because of them staying in the hospital or their family members staying in the hospital for a few days. Whereas this policy pays them in addition to whatever the other health insurance policy pays. This policy pays some fixed benefit per day. So this gives a additional kind of a offset of the income loss that happens to the family. So our thought process is not limiting to the technology only. Our thought process going around creating product propositions and creating product recommendation engine which are smart enough based on the nature of the product that we are buying. When we are offering a business insurance policy, it covers the business assets like their machinery, their stocks. So we look at what is the flood exposure, how far is the fire brigade from that location, how far is the nearest police station. So all these parameters help us to create a risk score through our proprietary riskometer engine, and then that helps not only the customer to take a informed call that how much all exposures that the customer has and whether he or she should purchase insurance or not. At the same time, it enables the underwriter, the insurance underwriter, to price that risk. So somebody who's sitting on the next to a river which is more flood prone, and then somebody who's on the second floor office which is less flood prone, so the pricing can be given better, as well as the choice of the risk selection also much better for the underwriter. Similarly, we have built multiple parameters for multiple products. So if it is health insurance, the city you live, whatever the existing health conditions of all your family members, whether you have parents, dependent parents at home, and whether they are dependent on the insurance policy. So all those aspects and existing illnesses, that takes care of the deciding or recommending the right product. So we are continuously building not only the right product, at the same time the recommendation engine, which is getting more and more powerful from based on the various quotes and various data that is kind of transacted on our platform. And on no name basis, this metadata is used by our analytics team, and we create this recommendation engine using the metadata across all our transactions that's happening on the platform.
So, Suvendu Chirand, what you explained actually beautifully covers the entire sale side of the equation. I'm wondering whether the same set of embedding or concepts around embedding also apply to the claims process. Because one problem that I see is that as consumers start getting more and more sachets of insurance, and these sachets could be from different insurance providers, this also complicates to some extent, the cognitive overload for customers to be also needing to claim their insurance from multiple providers as and when they would need it. So, any thoughts on how that might also play out?
Okay, let me start. I would request Chirant to add. So yeah, I think you touched upon again a very right point. So while we are making the insurance affordable and accessible at all over India through various partners that we have, at the same time it should take care of the entire life cycle of the insurance, right? Like the insurance in a box. So it is not limited to only the purchase. So from claim side, we realize that the what are the industry pain points, and because there's most of the insurance companies do not have any digital method of claim submission or claims processing. They are still physical. They're still based, you have to go to their branches and submit the physical papers and physical sign. We made is we made this process simple by building digital journeys. And because we are a API based infrastructure, the same digital journey is available from the point of sales. See, if today we're kind of distributing insurance through assisted wallet companies or retail stores anywhere in a small village or small town, at the same distribution point, the consumer can initiate a claim submission from that store or that center where the consumer has purchased the insurance. And we also gone one step ahead by using the same APIs. We are able to integrate with any messenger, whether it is WhatsApp messenger or Facebook messenger or any chat messenger chat. There the claims flow can be administered. So currently our WhatsApp claim messenger claim flow is popularly used by most of the channels that is present in the tier 2 and rural areas. And so that has enabled the consumers to log in claims sitting at their home, and basically you just say hi, and then through OTP verification you get the list of the policies, and you select the policy where to which you want to log in the claim, and then it asks you a few questions through the chat mode. You keep answering these 5 6 questions, and we limit the questions. We make sure that we don't repeat the question that we already know. Like for example, we know the customer name, address, date of birth, mobile number, email address, but all these are also questions asked in a typical claim form. We have realized that 40 to 50% of the claim form information is already available with us, so that we pre-populate. We only ask the information that is not available with us or with the insurance company. So by asking those information and allowing the customer to upload document by taking pictures from the phone, so that through WhatsApp, it's a very common mode of chatting everywhere all over India. So it is becoming most popular method of logging in claims. So the consumers are able to take photos of their documents that they need to submit, and by the end of this journey, our platform is generating a pre-filled claim form in the template defined by the insurance company. So it looks like their claim form with their logo and everything. So only thing today right now is not allowed is to submit the claim form online without physical signature of the customer. So for that also we have currently made an application to IRDA sandbox. So where we have put up a use case of allowing us to offer that through technology solutions, through digital signature or through OTP authentication. We can if today we are allowing the consumer to purchase insurance through OTP, So why can't we allow the consumer to log in claims through OTP? So that is the premise, and we already have the technology solution for that. We just need the regulatory nod so that it enables the insurance company to accept without physical signature. And through that, right now the consumer have to download that form, take a signature, and again kind of re-upload that to the WhatsApp chat. And then end of this journey, we attach all these documents and the signed form that the consumer uploaded and sent as a single mail to the claims department of the insurance company. Thereafter, the insurance company process and makes the claims payment to the customer directly. So that's how we are kind of solving the SASE claims journey.
Fantastic. Suvendu and Chirand, thanks for that. And Elroy, if you see, actually, I have seen Chirand building this company over the period of last few years. And sometimes when you have seen a baby crawl, walk, and run, and then the baby starts telling its story, you just want to sit on the sidelines and listen to the story. That's why I thought maybe I'll sit on the sidelines today and listen Chirand, Suvendu really explain the journey that they have had. And one more thing is, normally when Chirant explains what he's doing, he explains as if I know insurance, and I keep quiet because I want him to know and think that I really understand insurance. But today, as he's explaining, he will explain to a layman. It was really interesting listening to it. Chirant and Suvendu, just to move ahead, I had some rapid fire quick questions that I wanted to cover. The first one is from regulatory point of view. What is the regulatory framework under which Discovery operates? And considering that you are also attaching service aspects to it, does that impact that regulatory framework?
Yeah, so there are two kind of aspects of business that we do. So one is the technology solution. So that has been our main objective of our company, that to provide and build a technology platform for insurance distribution. So for that, there is no regulation right now for insurtech organizations, but obviously we have to be in line with all the regulations specified for the intermediaries, right? So we are building the technology for intermediaries, which are corporate agents and brokers. So whatever regulation they are need to kind of comply with, so our platform need to also be ready and capable of supporting that. So that we've ensured that all the requirements, there is a guidelines called ISNP defined by IRDA. So that is applicable for insurance companies and insurance intermediaries like brokers and corporate agent, and our platform is kind of meeting all the requirements across these intermediary segment. The other aspect of our business is about distribution. So when we deal with distribution of insurance, so then we have to be in a licensed intermediate. So in India, to distribute insurance and solicit insurance business, you need to have an insurance license. So for which we have taken a corporate agency license. We ourselves is a corporate agent, and since 2018, and currently we are working with 3 life, 3 non-life, and 3 health insurance companies. And these, when we go out and distribute for our insurance products directly to the market, so that is when we use our license. And whenever we deal with partners who have their own license or their own business, they, let's say banks or large NBFCs and wallet companies, fintech companies who already have their own license, whether it is a broking license or corporate agency license, so we only take care of their technology solution, and so we become their insurtech partner, and we provide the technology which enabling them the insurance distribution. Our license is not playing a role. So that's how we kind of divided our business. That's how we are.
Understood. Understood. And Chiran, you were talking about a new product that you're working on, affinity product. That sounded really interesting. Can you just give us some details around the product, what it is, how it work?
So it is a product that we are super pumped about. The idea was very simple. Insurance by definition is a leverage risk play on another service happening or not, or another product being sort of, being consumed or not. Anyway, right? And a lot of insurance happens sort of, invisibly bundled on the back of some other service or product. So why not sort of create the base protocol for anything to do with financial services? For instance, payments plus insurance, credit plus insurance, wealth/savings with plus insurance. The insurance part of it is common here. Why don't we create a single platform that enables multiple insurance products from multiple insurance companies to be managed seamlessly in with a single console and backend, but the front end being any of those individual financial services that are being catered to by the distribution partner. For instance, a fintech that is lending out of their own books typically tends to buy Loan Protect as a product. Now, this is a product that has been sort of around for a fairly long time. The problem with this product is it tends to be a single carrier product. And there's no single insurance company that is best designed to underwrite the risks of a Loan Protect kind of a product. The reason is because it covers both life and non-life side. So typically, Loan Protect covers risks like death of the borrower, critical illness, unemployment, property damage, so on and so forth. So some of these are life risks to underwrite, some of these are non-life risks to underwrite. So for one insurance company to come in and say, I'll give you this entire product end to end, means someone is leaving some money on the table or some value on the table. Because by definition, this is a multi-product kind of a use case. So why don't we create the base protocol for multiple carriers, multiple products getting attached in real time against use cases that the front-end financial service needs to. Now, a fintech that is lending to, say, against personal loans, right? Short-term personal loans, for instance. The kind of risk that they have on the borrower is very different from, say, an MSME loan, right? A short tenure personal loan would be typically low ticket, short duration. You don't sort of, fundamentally sort of worry about the death of the borrower. But that's sort of completely opposite the case in MSME, right? Because there are one few sort of defaults can skew the entire book. So in that particular case, you do sort of care about the death of the borrower, for instance. So in the first case, using our product, our Loan Protect product, which is a credit plus insurance kind of the base protocol, as I mentioned earlier, we can go underweight on death in the first use case and overweight on death in the second use case. And this is all happening at a configuration level in the backend. And once you do this as for one sort of cohort of risks, you can sort of plug in the same kind of insurance product without having to reconfigure every time. So it is an industry first implementation. In fact, we are trying to see how we can sort of, even think about sort of open sourcing and open APIing this entire capability. That is, further application development can happen on top of this the core API layer that we've already built that is in market. We have seen some early traction with on the lending side, and we are going deeper and deeper on the wealth and savings side, and in early conversations with some people on the payments or the domestic remittance plus insurance kind of use case. Any listeners on this podcast, if I can plug in my selfish sales pitch here, we would love to kind of talk to anyone to see whether we can support and serve any of your insurance plus use cases.
Every entrepreneur worth his salt, Chirant is always going to do his sales pitch. That is how you identify an entrepreneur. No problem. But there was a connected question then, Chirant, to what you just said. If, say, someone wants to procure your services or the product, what would be the typical cost line items for your buyer?
Yeah, so basically like we said, our whole entire model is partner driven. So right from the understanding the partner, their business, their existing setup, existing business, and what kind of products that is suitable, right? So what Chirant was mentioning right now in terms of the affinity products. So there are two things play a role. One is creating the conceptualization of the product and the proposition, right? So the product means not only the insurance product and the tech solution, it is about how it is positioned, how many questions are asked in the whole flow, and whether it is a 3-click purchase or whether it is a kind of a very detailed asking question and understanding. So it depends on the partner. If it is a bank or a wealth management company where they are dealing with serious customers and the customers don't mind spending a little more time and providing information and understanding the risk management map and then making the purchase, whereas we are dealing with LMI segment or we are trying to sell insurance on some other journey, maybe e-commerce or a retail store, so their consumer is not in the right frame of mind to purchase insurance and give a lot of answers to the many questions. So there we kind of leverage on surrogating a lot of the information that is already available with that partner, and we ask limited question and we try to complete the journey just by 3-click or 2-click. So that is we achieve this whole thing by two solutions. One, by providing the right product proposition, and second is providing the technology which is plug and play and gives you the complete flexibility in terms of designing your own screen, deciding your own journey, and embedding to your app or the website or portal or anywhere that you want to embed. That flexibility is available. So in terms of deciding the commercial, some of these aspects play a major role in that. What are the modules of our platform they are going to use, and what are the various other integrations they would like to have in terms of their internal systems. Either they want the complete end-to-end integration with their CRM, their HRMS, their SAP system, or it is just they want to come to our platform to perform on the insurance transactions and download the data on the everyday basis on the leads data or the policy transaction data or the premium commission. So two methods are available depending on the modules choose by the customer, products opted by the customer. The typical method of our commercials are we charge a very limited one-time integration fees depending on the effort involved in the beginning, which is primarily based on the partner's requirement, and thereafter it is linked to the business. It is more about variable payment, and so that is based on the business that we do. They continuously they make payment. So that model has really worked well for us, so that we are not very capital expense heavy at the upfront. So we only charge a small kind of a one-time integration fees, which is affordable for most of the partners, and they can get into this new business distribution, and thereafter they keep earning revenue by distributing insurance and then share part of that revenue as a partner to us. So that makes it a long-term sustainable business partnership.
I just want to add a quick thing to what Suvendu just mentioned earlier about sort of the different partners. As to Suvendu's point, there is the pricing is there's no one size fits all, right? And there is a combination of upfront and a SaaS fee, and which is typically a function of how much business the customer does in from a rev share perspective as well. That gets backended into a monthly kind of a SaaS fee as well that we require. The beauty of our model is that it is completely flexible by way of us working with sort of 10 plus partner segments across 6 to 8 different industries. One thing we have realized that there is no one size fits all. So what we have what we have gravitated towards over the last 12 to 18 months since we have been doing active enterprise sales is to come up with a pricing playbook that works for us as a tech startup across these industries and across those partner segments. And we are continuously iterating to figure out what should be the win-win sort of pricing that will enable as many partners to come and adopt us in the least amount of friction. And then, because insurance by definition is one of those things that it's not going to catch wildfire with every use case, with every product on every kind of a sort of a digital canvas, we tend to think of it as nodes. So not all nodes will fire. We want to sort of be early in the nodes that we think or we have a clear hypothesis on which will fire, especially on the embedded insurance side. So we want to work with sort of our enterprise partners that bring these large customer pools and work with them very closely to figure out what we internally call as channel product fit, bringing the right product to the right distribution channel of the distribution partner at the right price point for the right customer cohort, and iterating very deeply to kind of go deeper and deeper and build a meaningful alternate revenue channel or from a revenue perspective, and that book be as healthy as possible from a long-term sustainability perspective as well. So our model is not to sort of give the base things that are available to us as a startup, which is a combination of the tech, the insurance product, the APIs, the compliance license, and wish our partners good luck. What we want to do is really go deep and help them become successful at insurance distribution by way of everything that we do outside of the core enablement bit as well, which includes data, deep engineering, a lot of data at work, a fair amount of offline key account management help as well. And we are going deeper and deeper with newer technologies like AI and ML. We are hitting scale with the right amount of data that we need to put some very interesting algos at work. Till now we were sort of early to do that, but we are hitting scale for those kind of experiments to happen, and sort of we are early in those days to kind of reap benefits from that, but some very interesting use cases that are in the horizon that we look to monetize from on that particular bit to not only for ourselves but to help for our distribution partners build a long tail book as well. So
Got it, got it. And let me also generate leads for you. So, Suvendu and Chirant, if any of our listeners want to get in touch with you, what would be the best way to get in touch with Discovery?
So multiple ways. We are on all sort of social media platforms. Our website discovery.com. You can drop us a line via the contact us page there. You can write to us directly at hello@discovery.com or partnerships@discovery.com. Our phone numbers are also sort of on the website. We are on all sort of other social media, major social media platforms like LinkedIn and Twitter.
Absolutely, Chirant. And not to worry, we will add those contact details and details in our show note as well. Thanks a ton for being on the show, Chirant and Suvendu. Do visit our website, indiafintechdiaries.com, for show notes, episode archives, and exclusive content. Thank you for listening, and until next time, stay safe.